Okay, in the previous session, we had discussed about method overloading and the rules that need to apply for method overloading. Now, today we will discuss about method overriding. Method overriding is one of the polymorphism concept, which is called as a runtime polymorphism, also called as dynamic polymorphism. So, this method overriding is the example for this runtime polymorphism. Now, what we had discussed in the previous session is method overloading that is happening within the class, in the same class, the same method name with a different number of parameters with the different data types. So that is what. Now method overriding is not within the class. It should be applicable to the parent child relationship. It is a easier relationship between the classes, right? Now, this runtime polymorphism in Java occurs with two or more classes also. It is not only one class. When a class extend another class, then this overriding will come into the picture, which means there should be a relationship between these two classes. If you want to bond a relationship, right, there is a relationship between classes, right, then we have to override the method. Let's say that if a child class has a method as its parent class, for example, now in a you have two different classes, a parent and a child. Child is nothing but what it is inheriting, right? It is extending the parent, right? If to have two classes and the method m1 is there in the parent class and method m1 is there in the child class, then this we call it as a method overriding, which means the same method which we have it in the parent and we are again written in the child class. Make sure not only just looking at the method name, we also have to follow some rules, which means the method name of the parent should match to the method name to the child, which is overridden. And here in the method overloading, we are differentiating with the number of parameters, but this thing is not applicable to this method overriding. Method overriding should be exactly that syntax, the signature of the parent method should be same as that. But inside implementation, it doesn't matter. Again, right? No matter what implementation is provided here, you have a same method name in the parent class and the same method name in the child class, right? So we should know access modifier is different, no return type is different, no method signature means parameters. If you have a parameter is string in the parent, should have the same parameter in child also. Okay. Friends, if the derived class has a specific implementation of the method that has been declared in its parent class is known as method overriding. It's the simple definition. Okay, as told you, right? That and the last step that we told you, the method between the classes must be same. Means if you have two classes, parent and child, the method name of this be same and the number of and arguments must be the same. Okay, now here, before we go for hands-on, just look at the rules for method overriding to make it clear, to understand this clear before we go for hands-on. According to the rules, then we start doing the implementation. Now, again, I will start from the beginning, right? The rules, what we have discussed so far now, right? I will elaborate more as a part of rules that need to apply for the method overriding. First rule, the method name should be common and same as in the parent class, which means whatever the method name in the parent as say make call, the same name should be in the child class. Okay, the method signature is nothing but what the parameter list return type in the method name must be same as in the parent class, which means in the child class if you are writing some method which should match to the parent method signature return type, means if it is integer in the parent, in the child class also it should be the integer. But see, when do you say that inherit method overridings happen? There should be a relationship. There should be relationship means is a relation. So there must be an inheritance connection. How can it happen? You have to use the keyword extend. When your current class says extend that particular class, then the inheritance connection will happen. Then we call it as a inheritance. All the abstract methods in the all the abstract method in the parent class, right, should be overridden in the child class. So all abstract methods in the parent class should be overridden in the subclass. If it is declared the method as static or final no matter, then those methods cannot be overridden, which means there are some rules. These rules cannot be applied for static or final methods because static context is for the particular class, which means no other class can access your class, which means that methods or static methods are bound to that particular class where these are defined. Same way, this is final. Final is opposite to your static. Final, when you declare any method as a final, which means is this in our no, general meaning, my decision is final. No one can change that. The same way, when any method that is declared as final, you never or you cannot be overridden such methods in your child class. Okay, now let's go back to this. The goal, what is this goal? Then we have to start writing one hands-on example. Let's see that what we can do that. Okay, go back to Eclipse and start creating, close all this existing, create a new class. Just say now this is a new class. So here we create one class. Let's take example of bank, right? As we have discussed in the previous session. Okay, bank is a class. Okay, this is just a class, right? This is the initial class. This class contains one method as we discussed in the previous session, right? Let's have one method get to calculate the rate of interest. Okay, now here I am going to write a method public int. It is going to return a type integer get rate of interest. Okay, now what we are expecting something, means I am returning some integer. For example, rate of interest is 15%. Or now this is the parent class. Okay, now someone wants to extend this. No, the rate of interest is applicable to all the banks, right? But their interest rate is different according to their rules. Now for that we'll put as initially 0. Okay, let's assume that. Okay, this is a common rate of interest method is common to every bank have their calculation, means that rate of interest, their rate of interest is different. Okay, so those banks names are right child classes. Those child, let's create child class. For example, now SBI bank. SBI bank is now coming to picture. This SBI bank also have the rate of interest. So just override the same method. How do you override? Before you override, right, then you have to extend that. Then only you can say you have overridden that method. So to do that, we have to use the keyword extend. So there is a keyword extend, which means you are trying to extend some class functionality. So what is that? Parent class bank. See, it is there in this bank. Now you have extended that. But what is the next step? We are trying to override the parent class method name, but my implementation can be my own because I am a state bank. I have my own rate of interest rate. So interest rate will be after calculating and after doing something, I will return my own interest rate. So what is the method signature? See, public, it is returning int, and the method name should be the same as this parent. Just say integer. Okay, now it is returning integer data type. Return my interest rate is SBI is calculating 18%. Now it is returning 18%. Okay. Now the same way, let's create one more child class. This time we take ICICI Bank. Okay, ICICI Bank. Again, same thing. Override that method. Say copy, paste this. I have overridden that. Now here we have to extend this. Which one you are extending the bank? See now. Here, this State Bank and this ICICI Bank both are extending our bank class, which is a parent class. Now, let's start the how it gets behavior. Now here, this we create one main class and see this bank main class, bank main or bank. So main method. Okay, now we have a main method. Let's see how you call that method in your current class and the method that is in the parent class. Okay, how you do that? First, when you extend your parent class, then obviously you should have all the methods access that are defined in a parent class, which means with the help of child class object, you can acquire all the methods that are declared in the parent class except the final methods and the static methods. Okay, let's see now. First we'll do step by step. Okay, first they create an object to first bank. What is called that bank? Now I'm creating an object. Okay, bank. So bank is the parent. So what bank we are going to create? What object we are going to create? SBI Bank. Okay, create new. Now see, sorry, this cannot be. Now we have to create SBI. SBI Bank, right? See, this new in the sense it let you to create the object for SBI Bank and for the reference. This is the instance. Which instance is parent instance? For this parents, right? We are creating instance from child. Now, when you call this method, what you will expect? Then you will expect SBI Bank dot. What will come? The method that is declared in the parent class. SBI Bank dot. See, you could see the rate of interest. Okay, we just start printing this one. What you could see that output now. Okay, now just run this and see the output. See, it is rate of interest is not getting 10, right? You are create an object for your child class, which means by default, when you create an object, right? This when you override that method and it will check the method exists. This rate of interest is there in this pair child class. If it is not there in this current class, means parent child class, then it will go and call the parent method. Okay, let's see now the same thing. Okay, I am removing this method from here. Okay, now this time what will happen? You see now this time the output is 18, right? Which is the rate of interest of SBI Bank. Now I remove this one. Now this time we execute the same code and see what is the rate of interest is 10. So this is how the inheritance will work. If we are overridden the parent class method in a child class, it have a copy of the parent also, and first when you create an object to the direct child class, it will look only that child class because you have created object to parent, sorry, child class. So first it will spool, it will check the child class only. Is that calling method exists in my class or not? If yes, then it will return, it will call that particular method and execute your method code. If does not exist, then it will go back and check is that method exists in my parent. If nowhere it is one, then you know that there is a compilation error will come. So this is how this inheritance it will work. And when you are extending, in the sense, then you are acquiring the properties of parents. Okay, let's declare one more method here. Okay, for example, now public void make call. Now what I do this, I just print the same message out, parent make call method. So here I have a parent make call method. Now in this bank implementation, right, now what I do, I with the same object SBI bank, sorry, SBI bank dot, you could see this, what's happening here, right here you do not have this parent method, because what is the difference here? You have created an object with the help of child class, but the instance is only the parent. Then that is the reason you cannot access the parent class, which you have not overridden. You have not overridden that method, right? Sorry, you have, sorry, it is there some mistake. So here you could see this make call. Now by default this child will child is already extended parent, so it go per parent and return and check the method is there here or not. For example, remove method argument. Okay, we are not returning anything, right? Okay, just call this one. This guy already have a sysout, so that is the reason it is saying you already have a sysout. Now run this program and see now, say parent call method. Say this time what's happening now, when you call this make call, it checks in the child class only, but it is not found that method in the child class. So it will look at that, hey guy, I don't have this method make call. Do you have that make call? If yes, please run that method and produce the output result. Okay, now just create one more object to another class, which is ICICI Bank. So this time again, I will create a bank, ICICI Bank instance using ICICI Bank. So this time we have created object to ICICI Bank. Now again same thing. When I call this method, right, instead of State Bank, I can say ICICI Bank dot. Then this time what we will expect, then we expect the rate of interest is from ICICI Bank, which is 18%. Sorry, here also we said 80%. Let's make it as 21%. Now run this program, then you could see the output of is 21%, right? So which means it first giving priority to child class, which is a term, right? I get rate of interest. If does not find this method here, again it will apply to the parent class. I don't have that such method here. Please return this method as requested. Now when here, when I say ICICI Bank dot say, it does not have any more methods, right? You see this one, it does not have any more methods. But when you say ICICI Bank, this child guy is, this is the child, right, to which one it is extending a bank again. So again you are one of the child which you extending a bank account. So but you have defined one method, but you still have access to one additional method, which is a make call, because you are extended, you have extended the bank class. What methods you have declared in the parents, by default it will be included in the child class, no matter whether you have overridden or not. Overridden in the sense, right, if you want to have your special behavior, if you want to have your own behavior, but the calling, the name of the method is same, but inside the implementation is different, then that scenario, that case you have to go for the overridden. Otherwise, right, if you are expecting same behavior in the parent child, right, then there is no point of overriding this method, right? It is like a redundant code, right? Make sure, remember that if you are expecting right? Your own implementation with the same name, the method name get rate of interest, right? You have your own rate of interest. If you also have the own rate of interest like other banks and everything remains same, then why you are again overriding that method and copying pasting the same method, right? No use. Since with the child class object, right, you still have access to parent class method, right? See now this make call. I don't have a make call in the ICICI Bank, right? I still able to access because I have extended the parent. So I have copy of all the parent, what methods are there. If the parents, no matter how many methods are there, only this rule is applicable to overridden methods. The methods which you have overridden in the child class, if first it give preference to your child class method. If that particular method is there, yes, otherwise it go and call the method from the parent class. So this is how the inheritance will work. As discussed, now static methods cannot be overridden. So how it works, let's see now. Public static void. Okay, say void only again. Let's go with the void, and I can say subscribe channel. Now this guy will say parent channel. Now I have written a method which is static method. Now what I do, I copy this and put it in my one of the child class. You see that as I told you, right, it is a rule that parent static methods cannot be overridden. But you can see I still have overridden, but this is not actually overridden. Overridden in the sense what you should extend the copy of, right, of the parent. But here this is as you have declared the same method here and here, but you don't have a compile time error. Let's see what happened here. Now you go here and SBI Bank, right? So this is SBI Bank. What I do, SBI Bank, you know, SBI instance dot, what method you see, you have access to subscribe channel, but subscribe channel, right? Let's call this subscribe channel and see this one, right? What happens, who will come here? See, subscribe channel, parent subscribe channel, which means say here, this guy, right, this object, even though you have created with this one, but the reference is parent bank. Let's it go here and call this guy. So basically you never call this static methods with the instance. Instead that you can call the objects this static method with the class, because since these are class levels. So this time you see what is the output, it goes to the parent and print that. If we want to call this, say parent may call here again, right? Sorry, parent channel is calling. If you want to call this SBI Bank guy, and you can call using that class name dot method name, the see parent SBI Bank dot see subscribe channel, right? Now you see that you can see both the outputs from parent and SBI channel. So why, how you see this method is not overridden, right? When I say SBI Bank dot means this is the instance of this bank, this is guy. Okay, let's create one object. Okay, you will maybe clear that. Now I'm creating object directly SBI Bank. Okay, SBI Bank, SBI equals to new SBI. Now let's see how it works. SBI dot okay, what is this directly instance, right? It is instance of your child class only. This SBI is one of the child class which is extended the bank. Now you see SBI dot, right? You see the subscribe channel is there in your class, and same subscribe channel is here. But when you call this method using this particular class, right, what happens then? You can get only child. See, SBI channel. Okay, it is already there twice. It is displaying. Okay, SBI channel. It's there. Now, for example, now, okay, if I remove here, okay, SBI channel, you just run as this one. Okay, again say parent channel. So basically, these static methods cannot be overridden. So it just say it will allow to write the same method name, but actually this cannot be considered as overridden. So like this, static methods cannot be overridden. Now let's see about the final methods. For example, now public final void final method. Okay, sys out parent final method. Now I go to SBI and copy paste the same thing and try this. What I could see here, final method error. Remove final modifier of bank final method, which means see you cannot override the final method from the bank, which is say the method final method in the name final method is declared in the bank is marked as final. So when such methods are declared as final, it never be allowed to override on. Okay, let's example now. I remove it here. Okay, you see this, you still able to do that. Now let's, okay. So if directly I have a method, final method, like for example, receive call. First, I have written a method in my child class, which is a final method. Now I am trying to write the same method name in the parent. It is a reverse way. No matter how you do, it is same again. Receive call. Now I declared public void final receive call. See again, right? No matter whether you return for here or there. So once we declare any method as final, it never be allowed, then we get compile time error. The moment you see it, you remove this one, right? Then you say still you this one, because this the same method name we have written in the parent class. No matter what this modified or there. Now if I say string data type as integer, right? Even though it, sorry. Okay, now see this, what happened. If I change the data type, now the return type is incompatible with the receiver bank. You are trying to override the receive call, but first it look at the method. This receive call exists in this parent call. Okay, method is there, but you are returning void, right? Method return type is not compatible, it says. Now if you try to override this, now return type just void and see what happens. Right? Again, void means it is exactly matching but cannot be overridden the final method. Right? First, it check whether the method name is already exist in the parent. If it does not exist, right, then no problem. If it exists, and it will check the syntax type, means method signature. There in the parent, you are expecting return type is some void, but you are doing something mismatch, means incompatible. Then if it matches to the parent, right, public void, but it look at what axis is it restricted, means yes, if it is restricted, then you cannot override this. So straightforward rule, right? Final variables, sorry, final methods cannot be overridden, and static methods also cannot be overridden, right? Once again, recap that rules, right? Any method that is overridden will be called first with the child class. If that method does not exist, it will go and call the parent class method. Now we will see one more thing. Now I have a bank implementation here. Now what we do, just we create one method. What is this? I have a method, okay, just say receive call here. Parent call method. Okay, this one is bank. Receive call is SSA call method. Okay, now first remove this one. Okay, we have only receive call here in this parent call method. Now what I do, I when I say this I say right? Okay, bank SBI bank dot see what you see this method, receive call is there. So if you call that one, then what you get the output of this method, right? Parent call method. Now what we do here, parent call method, I remove this one. Okay, I directly put it here in ICICI Bank or SBI Bank. Okay, you see this error is there. So where this method exists, then SBI dot, right? You can see this, the method is not there. This guy is moved to ICICI Bank. ICICI Bank dot, what could see this? Make powers method. Okay, what is the method we have defined in ICICI Bank? Okay, receive call. See, you will receive, where is this? Now parent ICICI Bank have received call. Now with help of ICICI Bank, say what, we are not allowing this method. Right, bank dot, okay, receive call. Now you see this one, that's right. Well, this method receive call is only in the child class, which is extending here, but this guy does not have the receive call, right? What happens then? You could see the compile time error. You are trying to call a method receive call. Hey, you have created object with ICICI Bank, but the reference is parent. So using parent reference, you are trying to call object. If that method is overridden, then I can call. If that does not overridden, then I do not know, because the child have all the properties, all the behavior from the parent, but it is not the reverse way. So this step, this compile time error will lead to that you can acquire all the behavior from the parent, but if you have additional methods in your child class, that cannot be accessed to your parent method. So that is the reason you cannot call. But how do you call this one? Yes, you can call using ICICI Bank reference only. So if you have object created like this, then the issue will be resolved. So you have to keep in mind those steps. If you are overridden the methods, and if you want to call the parent or child methods, and right, then you go with the reference of this parent. And if you want to call the particular method that is not overridden in the parent and child, then you have to go direct instance should be directly referred to the child class. Then only you can access those methods, otherwise you will not access. Okay, always remember rules, that if the method is overridden, it should match to the parent method signature, method name, access modifier type, return type, and the number of parameters. And next thing is static final methods cannot be overridden. And if the method exists in the child class, first it give preference to the child class method. If it does not exist, and it will call the parent class method. When does it will call? if we have a reference, object reference to the parent. Otherwise, parent does not know that. Hey guy, you are using my reference, you are calling your method because you are extending my class, right? You have access to my class methods as well as your class method, but I cannot find your class methods, which is not reverse way. Okay, always remember that thing. When you are extending means you have access to this one, means this class methods all included in your current class. But when you go this guy doesn't know that what the methods available in this class. This guy only knows this methods. He cannot know, it doesn't know outside methods. Okay, this is how about the method overriding works. Okay, please do hands on so that you will